What is going on? It is Nate the Game Guy coming back with another video at hand. And today I want to talk to you guys about collecting for the Xbox One and just how cheap of a console it is to collect for. Now I will admit, me personally, the Xbox One was my least favorite console out of the 8th generation, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it was all bad. After all, there are a ton of great games that I can recommend to you guys for the console itself, not only that are great in general, but are also cheap games too. In this video, I plan to give a little bit of some background and history of the Xbox One. I also plan to show you guys just how cheap of a console it is to collect for, and also give you guys some great game recommendations of games that are not only just fun, but are also cheap as well. So, without further ado, let's take a look at some background and history and some cheap games for the Xbox One right after the intro. Back in 2013 is when Microsoft would announce and also launch the Xbox One. Unfortunately for Microsoft's 8th generation entry into gaming, the Xbox One would have a very rough start. Unfortunately, when the console was announced, a lot of gamers found out that the console would have some very strict DRM policies. The console would always have to be connected online, and the console would not allow you to share games with other gamers, along with a host of other problems connected as well. This led to Sony to allow them to have the upper hand by putting out a very aggressive marketing campaign that really hurt the overall public image of the Xbox One and convinced many consumers to purchase a PlayStation 4 over an Xbox One. This led to Microsoft having to make some drastic changes to the console's launch in order to win back the trust of the consumer. Unfortunately for Microsoft, I think that too much damage was already done, because overall the PlayStation 4 outsold the Xbox One by a large margin, and with Sony putting out more exclusive titles that appealed to gamers, that also hurt the Xbox One in the long run. Now, the Xbox One did have a few features that allowed itself to have a few advantages over the PlayStation 4. For example, the Xbox One did have backwards compatibility with the Xbox 360, which allowed gamers to put in their old 360 games into the console and would be able to install it onto the console. Unfortunately for PlayStation 4, you could not do the same with PlayStation 3 games. Also, with the Xbox One, as time went on, Microsoft would introduce Game Pass, which was essentially just like Netflix, but instead of you being able to go through a bunch of movies through a set list, you would be able to go through a bunch of video games. This would allow gamers to also take advantage of this opportunity provided by Microsoft, which did allow for gamers to have some benefit owning an Xbox One over a PlayStation 4. Now, I will admit, I personally was not a fan of the Xbox One. I felt like the console had several issues that kept me from enjoying it. For example, when I would sometimes pop a game into the disk drive, it would sometimes tell me that I need to purchase the game, even though I already own it, and I would sometimes have to eject it and pop it back in multiple times just in order for the game to work. And sometimes I would have to restart the console completely just to get the game to read as a game that I purchased. It was very annoying. Also, when it came to exclusive titles, I felt like the Xbox One didn't have very many games to go through. Meanwhile, on PlayStation 4, there were games such as Horizon Zero Dawn, Ghost of Tsushima, Uncharted 4, Drive Club, Killzone Shadowfall. And what was Microsoft doing when it came to that lack of exclusive titles to choose from? Sure, there were some good ones on there, such as Halo Master Chief Collection, but it took quite a while for 343 in order for the game to become playable. The game was very buggy, it was laggy, it was glitchy, it had a terrible launch, and it took quite a while for the game to become playable. Plus, I was still had that sour taste in my mouth with just how bad of how Microsoft introduced the Xbox One when it first came out. Overall, I did not have a very positive outlook for the Xbox One. Although I will admit, I still enjoyed the console from time to time. After all, there were still Gears of War games being put on there. It was really nice to be able to play some Halo 2 again and some Halo Combat Evolved online. So I did have some positive experiences when it came to the Xbox One. But overall, I can't really say that I enjoyed the console that much when comparing it to the PlayStation 4. However, in this day and age, I can say that there are some positives when it comes to collecting for the Xbox One. After all, it's a very cheap console to collect for, and I gotta say, I gotta share some things with you guys with just how cheap of a console it is when it comes to collecting for the Xbox One. Now, I do believe that the Xbox One is easily one of the cheapest consoles that you can collect for, and I think it helps too that overall that the Xbox brand isn't really seen to be collectible among many game collectors. Most game collectors are more focused on Nintendo, Sega, PlayStation, and don't really seem to have that much interest when it comes to the Xbox brand overall, based on my opinions personally. And I do believe that the Xbox One has a ton of great deals, and you don't really have to go that much out of your way to find great deals. You can even go to your local mom and pop game stores and even GameStop and find great deals on the Xbox One. And I speak from experience as well when I do say that, and I can find deals pretty easily for the console itself at thrift stores, garage sales, estate sales, all that wonderful stuff, and even on lots on eBay. One of the best ways that I like to do to see if I'm getting a good deal on a lot on eBay, say it's $50 with 10 games, free shipping. Sometimes there's shipping that you have to pay for, all that stuff. And what I like to do is take the price of the listing. If there is shipping into it, I add the price of shipping into that $50 cost, for example. But with this example, I'll just say $50, free shipping. And since we are buying 10 games with this example, I divide it by 10 and I am paying essentially $5 per game. Now, if I'm paying like for like a copy of like Madden 16 in that lot or whatever, clearly I'm paying a little bit more than what the game is worth. But if I'm paying $5 for a game that normally is like $10 or $15 and it's included into that lot, you know, I'm probably getting a good deal. So what I usually like to do that little thing going on, divide it and check out to see how much the games are worth, and if it's a good deal, pick it up. Otherwise, I just pass on it. But that's how I get great deals on games in general, not just with the Xbox One, but consoles in general. And I can truthfully say I've had a ton of success with Xbox One games when going through that. Now, me personally, I don't really go out of my way to collect for the Xbox One, but I can tell you, if you are looking for some deals, and if you happen to own an Xbox One or Series X, this might be something that might be worth considering. And now I'll start with some cheap game recommendations and give you a 2-for-1 and talk about Battlefield 4 and Battlefield 1. The Battlefield games can be incredibly fun, especially if you've got a squad full of friends and people that know what they're doing, and you guys use some teamwork to take the objectives, take out some enemies. It can be a really fun multiplayer experience. Now, I haven't played the campaign for Battlefield 1, but I can say with the campaign with Battlefield 4, I think it offers a pretty decent campaign. If you are looking for some really fun multiplayer games for a decent price, I would strongly recommend that you guys do consider picking up Battlefield 4 and Battlefield 1, especially if you do enjoy a little bit of some strategy with some teammates and you want to take things up to a different little bit of a perspective than what you would normally get out of another first-person shooter such as Call of Duty. Now, a really cheap, underrated title that I want to talk about and share and recommend to you guys is Wreckfest. Wreckfest is essentially like Destruction Derby with some Forza Motorsport mixed in the middle, along with some other modes where you are in a pit and you guys have to crash into each other and survive. And I gotta say, this is a really fun game. Even when I'm not doing well in the game, I do find myself laughing and having a good time just because of the mindlessness happiness that I get out of the gameplay. It's pretty fun, and I do consider it to be a relatively underrated game, not just on the Xbox One, but also the PlayStation 4 as well. Of course, I do want to recommend this video that you guys can check out right here, where I do talk about some underrated games overall for the 8th generation of consoles. Wreckfest isn't on there, but if you do want to check out some more underrated games for the 8th generation, I would strongly recommend that you guys do check that video out. But yes, I think you guys will have a ton of fun checking out Wreckfest. After all, not only is it a really good racing game, but if you do enjoy a little bit of some mindless destruction, Wreckfest just might be up your alley. Now, in my opinion, this is a criminally underrated compilation title, and that is the Rare Replay Collection. This game has so many great games put into it. There is Banjo-Kazooie, Conker's Bad Fur Day, Perfect Dark, Viva Pinata. There are just so many great games that are just crammed onto one disc. I find this game all the time for really cheap, and if you guys happen to find this copy out, whether it is a local mom and pop game store or online or whatever, make sure, if you possibly can, that it also comes with the Gears of War Ultimate Edition, because that is also another fantastic game. I love the Gears of War series, and I think that's just going to add more value to your experience if you are able to pick up the bundle that comes with the Rare Replay Collection and Gears of War Ultimate Edition. Two amazing games on the Xbox One, and I gotta say, if you are looking for some great value and a good variety of some incredibly fun games and some underrated ones mixed in between, I gotta say you guys really should check out the Rare Replay Collection. Now, me personally, I'm not really good at this game, but I do enjoy it for what it is, and that is Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege. This is a game that really puts the emphasis on team strategy. Essentially, whether you guys are defending or are attacking, you guys get to pick out these different classes, and all these classes have different abilities, and there are a few different game modes. Of course, some game modes have been taken down from over the years, but this game really puts the emphasis on trying to take out the enemy and trying to not get seen. Essentially, in my opinion, the best way to describe this game is imagine Search and Destroy on Call of Duty, but a lot more complex. This game can be a ton of fun, even though me personally, I'm not the best at it, but I do enjoy the game. And considering this was a game that I only picked up for $3, and for that price range, I think you guys will enjoy yourself playing Rainbow Six Siege. I really do think you will get your money's worth out of a game like Siege. Now, I gotta say, this is a really incredible game that I really think you guys should check out if you haven't already, and that is Doom 2016. What I really like about this game is that it takes the Doom franchise into the modern era of gaming while still sticking to its roots of that classic Doom gameplay. I really did enjoy the campaign. I thought it was just very true to what Doom is essentially known for. Now, unfortunately, with this game, the multiplayer is essentially dead. Sadly, you will not be able to find a match, but back when the multiplayer was active, it was pretty fun, and I do have to say I did enjoy its take on modern multiplayer with some Doom mixed in the middle. But even though you can't really enjoy the multiplayer today, there is still that campaign that comes with Doom 2016 that I do think is pretty fun. If you do enjoy the classic Doom games, I do think that you will enjoy the modern perspective that is put with Doom 2016. You still have those classic elements of the old school Doom games, but of course you do experience the modern era of gaming. And I gotta say, with what was accomplished with this game, I think it was executed very well, and for the price that you can easily find this game for, I gotta say, in my opinion, it's just a no-brainer for a recommendation when it comes to cheap games that you can pick up. Hey guys, thank you so much for checking out my video. Please be sure to check out these videos here, here, and here. After all, I post a lot of content when it comes to game collecting tips, and other video game related subjects. So be sure to keep an eye out every Monday and Friday where I upload consistently, and I'll be seeing you guys next time.